Welcome to Bite at a Time Books, where we read you your favorite classics one bite at a time. My name is Bree Carlile, and I love to read, and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. Be sure to follow the show on your favorite podcast platform so you get all the new episodes. Or you can follow the show on YouTube, where we have playlists for all the stories. You can find us on all the social medias at Bite at a Time Books, or on our website, biteatatimebooks.com, where you can also sign up for our newsletter for more information on what we're reading and what's coming next for the podcasts. We're part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you'd also like to hear what inspired your favorite classic author to write their novels, and what was going on in the world at the time, check out the Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story podcast, Tuesdays, wherever you listen to podcasts. Today we'll be continuing White Fang by Jack London. Chapter 2. Bite 2.
That darned cuss.
Bill spoke gravely and slowly, with no hint of the anger that was raging within.
Just because he couldn't chew himself loose, he chews Spanker loose.
Well, Spanker's troubles is over anyway. I guess he's digested by this time, and cavorting over the landscape in the bellies of 20 different wolves. Was Henry's epitaph on this the latest lost dog? Have some coffee, Bill. Bill shook his head. Go on, Henry pleaded, elevating the pot. Bill shoved his cup aside.
I'll be ding-dong-danged if I do. I said I wouldn't if airy dog turned up missin', and I won't.
It's darn good coffee, Henry said enticingly. But Bill was stubborn, and he ate a dry breakfast, washed down with mumbled curses at one ear for the trick he had played.
I'll tie him up out of reach of each other tonight,
Bill said as they took the trail. They had traveled little more than 100 yards when Henry, who was in front, bent down and picked up something with which his snowshoe had collided. It was dark, and he could not see it, but he recognized it by the touch. He flung it back so that it struck the sled and bounced along until it fetched up on Bill's snowshoes. Maybe you'll need that in your business, Henry said. Bill uttered an exclamation. It was all that was left of Spanker, the stick with which he had been tied.
They ate him hide and all, Bill announced. The stick's as clean as a whistle. They've ate the leather off in both ends. They're damn hungry, Henry, and they'll have you and me guessing before this trip's over.
Henry laughed defiantly. I ain't been trailed this way by wolves before, but I've gone through a whole lot worse and kept my health. Takes more than a handful of them pesky critters to do for yours truly, Bill, my son.
I don't know,
Bill muttered ominously. Well, you'll know all right when we pull into McGurry.
I ain't feeling special enthusiastic,
Bill persisted. You're off color, that's what's the matter with you, Henry dogmatized. What you need is quinine, and I'm going to dose you up stiff as soon as we make McGurry. Bill grunted his disagreement with the diagnosis and lapsed into silence. The day was like all the days. Light came at 9 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, the southern horizon was warmed by the unseen sun. And then began the cold gray of afternoon that would merge 3 hours later into night. It was just after the sun's futile effort to appear that Bill slipped the rifle from under the sled lashings and said,
Keep right on, Henry. I'm going to see what I can see.
You'd better stick by the sled, his partner protested. You've only got 3 cartridges, and there's no telling what might happen.
Who's croaking now?
Bill demanded triumphantly. Henry made no reply and plodded on alone, though often he cast anxious glances back into the gray solitude where his partner had disappeared. An hour later, taking advantage of the cutoffs around which the sled had to go, Bill arrived.
They're scattered and ranged along wide, he said, keeping up with us and looking for game at the same time. You see, they're sure of us, only they know they've got to wait to get us. In the meantime, they're willing to pick up anything eatable that comes handy.
You mean they think they're sure of us? Henry objected pointedly. But Bill ignored him.
I've seen some of them. They're pretty thin. They ain't had a bite in weeks, I reckon, outside of Fatty and Frog and Spanker. And there's so many of them that didn't go far. They're remarkable thin. Their ribs is like washboards, and their stomachs is right up against their backbones. They're pretty desperate, I can tell you. They'll be going mad yet, and then watch out.
A few minutes later, Henry, who was now traveling behind the sled, emitted a low warning whistle. Bill turned and looked, then quietly stopped the dogs. To the rear, from around the last bend, and plainly into view on the very trail they had just covered, trotted a furry, slinking form. Its nose was to the trail, and it trotted with a peculiar, sliding, effortless gait. When they halted, it halted, throwing up its head and regarding them steadily with the nostrils that twitched as it caught and studied the scent of them.
"It's the she-wolf,"
Bill answered. The dogs had lain down in the snow, and he walked past them to join his partner in the sled. Together they watched the strange animal that had pursued them for days, and that had already accomplished the destruction of half their dog team. After a searching scrutiny, the animal trotted forward a few steps. This it repeated several times, till it was a short 100 yards away. It paused, head up, close by a clump of spruce trees, and with sight and scent studied the outfit of the watching men. It looked at them in a strangely wistful way, after the manner of a dog. But in its wistfulness, there was none of the dog affection. It was a wistfulness bred of hunger, as cruel as its own fangs, as merciless as the frost itself. It was large for a wolf, its gaunt frame advertising the lines of an animal that was among the largest of its kind. "Stands pretty close to 2.5 feet at the shoulders," Henry commented, "and I'll bet it ain't far from 5 feet long."
"Kind of strange color for a wolf,"
was Bill's criticism.
"I've never seen a red wolf before. Looks almost cinnamon to me."
The animal was certainly not cinnamon-colored. Its coat was the true wolf coat. The dominant color was gray, and yet there was to it a faint reddish hue. A hue that was baffling, that appeared and disappeared. That was more like an illusion of the vision. Now gray, distinctly gray, and again giving hints and glints of a vague redness of color not classifiable in terms of ordinary experience.
"Looks for all the world like a big husky sled dog," Bill said. "I wouldn't be surprised to see it wag its tail. Hello, you husky," he called. "Come here, you whatever your name is."
"Ain't a bit scared of you," Henry laughed. Bill waved his hand at it threateningly and shouted loudly. But the animal betrayed no fear. The only change in it that they could notice was an accession of alertness. It still regarded them with the merciless wistfulness of hunger. They were meat, and it was hungry, and it would like to go in and eat them if it dared.
"Look here, Henry,"
Bill said, unconsciously lowering his voice to a whisper because of what he imitated.
"We've got 3 cartridges, but it's a dead shot. Couldn't miss it. It's got away with 3 of our dogs, and we ought to put a stop to it. What do you say?"
Henry nodded his consent. Bill cautiously slipped the gun from under the sled lashing. The gun was on the way to his shoulder, but it never got there. For in that instant, the she-wolf leapt sideways from the trail into the clump of spruce trees and disappeared. The 2 men looked at each other. Henry whistled long and comprehendingly.
"I might have knowed it."
Bill chided himself aloud as he replaced the gun.
"Of course a wolf that knows enough to come in with the dogs at feedin' time and know about shooting irons. I tell you right now, Henry, that critter's the cause of all our trouble. We'd have 6 dogs at the present time instead of 3 if it wasn't for her. And I tell you right now, Henry, I'm going to get her. She's too smart to be shot out in the open, but I'm going to lay for her. I'll bushwhack her as sure as my name is Bill."
"You needn't stray off too far in doing it," his partner admonished. "If that pack ever starts to jump you, them 3 cartridges would be worth no more than 3 whoops in hell. Them animals is damn hungry, and once they start in, they'll sure get you, Bill." They camped early that night. 3 dogs could not drag the sled so fast, nor for so long hours as could 6. And they were showing unmistakable signs of playing out. And the men went early to bed. Bill first seeing to it that the dogs were tied out of gnawing reach of one another. But the wolves were growing bolder, and the men were aroused more than once from their sleep. So near did the wolves approach that the dogs became frantic with terror, and it was necessary to replenish the fire from time to time in order to keep the adventurous marauders at safer distance.
"I've heard sailors talk of sharks following a ship,
Bill remarked as he crawled back into the blankets after one such replenishing of the fire.
Well, them wolves is land sharks. They know their business better than we do, and they ain't a-holding our trail this way for their health. They're going to get us. They're sure going to get us, Henry.
They've half got you already at talking like that, Henry retorted sharply. A man's half-licked when he says he is, and you're half-eaten from the way you're going on about it.
They've got away with better men than you and me,
Bill answered. Oh, shut up your croaking. You make me all fired tired. Henry rolled over angrily on his side, but was surprised that Bill made no similar display of temper. This was not Bill's way, for he was easily angered by sharp words. Henry thought long over it before he went to sleep, and as his eyelids fluttered down and he dozed off, the thought in his mind was, there's no mistaking it, Bill's almighty blue. I'll have to cheer him up tomorrow. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books today, while we read a bite of one of your favorite classics. Again, my name is Bree Carlile, and I hope you join us tomorrow for the next bite of White Fang. If you enjoyed our show, be sure to follow us so you get all the new episodes. We would also love for you to drop us a rating on your favorite podcast platform. You can catch us on all the social medias at Bite at a Time Books, or check out our website, biteatatimebooks.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter. Our show is part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you would also like to hear about the authors who write the books we read on the show, check out the Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, or on biteatatimebooksbehindthestory.com.